getting your website prepared for Black Friday, or as I like to call it, Big Money Weekend, because that's what it is. If you are not thinking about Black Friday as Big Money Weekend for your business, you are missing out. So I want you guys to get in the mindset of thinking about Black Friday, which is 38 days away. 38 days away. So let's talk about step one, or the first thing. These aren't really steps, but just points of information that you need to be thinking about and you need to be working on. So the first step is, the first item is making sure that your website has an SSL certificate. If you sell products directly on your website, you need to have an SSL certificate. That is, SSL stands for Secure Socket Layer. So essentially, if you sell on your website, you need to make sure that as customers are inputting their credit card information, that information is being sent encrypted and it's secure. So for your consumer, for the people that are savvy with shopping online, they are used to looking for your website to have HTTPS. That is how you know. That is how the consumer is going to know if the moment they start putting in their credit card information, if their information is going to be sent in a secure manner. It's going to change from HTTP to HTTPS. So you need to have that SSL certificate, and you would get that from your website host. Whoever you bought your .com or your domain from, that's where you need to get your SSL certificate from. And the thing is, if you don't have it, the Googler is going to penalize you. Google, we all know who Google is, every business owner's best friend. If your website does not have an SSL certificate, Google will push your website down in the search engine, because they can do that. They got it like that. They will push your website down in search engine results, search rankings, if you don't have it. So get it. Most hosts, it's free to very low cost, and it's something that you only need to purchase one time. But if you sell stuff directly on your site, you absolutely need to have it, because what Google is doing is businesses, consumers that are visiting your site from, if they're going to your site through Google Chrome, what Google does is it tells them in big bold letters right next to your .com, it says not secure. So Google is making sure that consumers are aware that if the sites that they are on are secure or not. They're making sure they know, and they're penalizing you by pushing your website down in the search engine if it is not secure. The next thing also relates to Google, and again will help make that process, that experience more conducive to shoppers, is making sure that your website is mobile responsive. Mobile responsive means that your website adjusts to the screen size that the visitor is using. If they are on the desktop computer, it gets bigger. If they're on a tablet, it gets a little smaller. If they're on a smartphone, it gets even smaller. You want to make sure that your website responds. That's what that means. It responds to the screen size of your visitors. Because if you are advertising something and you're directing people to your site, but when they go from their smartphone, it's not as easy to find, or your website just looks all jumbled up and it doesn't even load properly, that's going to drive them away. You don't want to do that. Don't do that to yourself. So make it as easy as possible for people to shop with you. And again, if your website is not mobile responsive, Google will penalize you. They will, again, make your website appear lower in search engine results if it is not mobile responsive. Next thing, and this isn't something that you have to do, but it just makes the user experience a lot more seamless if you have landing pages for specific items. So if you have a lot of stuff, if you have a category of items that are really big, if you sell everything and you happen to be promoting one particular item during Black Friday that is on sale, right? If that is the case, make sure that you are directing people to the page specifically for that item. And if you want to be super duper fancy, you can create what is known as a landing page, which is the page. It is essentially the welcome mat for your website visitors. That welcome mat can be for a product that is on sale. It could be for a free download that you're giving on your website. It could be for anything. But specifically, if you are running sales on your website during Black Big Money Weekend and you are promoting specific items, make sure you send people to those specific items. If you get my attention, if you catch my attention in the newsfeed by telling me that, I don't know, electric kettles on your website are 70% off, if that stops me in my tracks and I head to your website, please don't send me to the product category with all 1,700 items that you sell, because I promise you I'm not going to scroll through and look for that electric kettle that's on sale. I'm going to leave. So make sure that you have landing pages or you are directing people to individual product pages. So if you don't have those, you need to get them. Get those taken care of, you guys. Next, again, this is another one that is not mandatory. We kind of went over the mandatory ones, which is with the first two, because they affect your SEO. This one isn't mandatory either, but it's just good because it gives people that might already be familiar with you, it gives them a reason to go back to your site. Update your website copy. What I mean by website copy, update the words, the text on your website. Maybe that's updating your About Us page. That's updating your home page. Because it's the holidays, you might want to change to a holiday type verbiage. Update your product descriptions. Update as many things that you can update. Because again, if people already know about you and they are familiar with what it is that you do, you've got to keep it fresh just in time for the holidays to give people a reason to stop by and see what you have going on. People are nosy. Next thing ties back into e-commerce. If you sell products on your site, you probably need to update or at least test to make sure your inventory management system is still working, making sure you have a process. Specifically, if you sell items on your site and you do live events where you sell those same items. So if for my t-shirt brand, I sell products on my site, and if I happen to do a live event, I'm pulling from that same inventory. So that means I've got to make sure that while I'm at this event selling these products, people aren't visiting the site ordering stuff that I happen to have already been sold. So make sure you have that your inventory management system squared away. Your process needs to be seamless and tight. Even if that means before you go to a live event, you reduce the numbers of inventory on your website temporarily until after the event is over. Because if you go to an event with 4 products and you sell all 4 at the event, but I go to your website and it says that you have 4 in stock, that's not accurate. So now you're going to have to explain to me why the item that I just purchased on your site is not available. So update your inventory management. Make sure that that stuff is squared away. And then the last thing, because again, you're doing all of these things because you want more people to be visiting your site. You want more people to be paying attention. You want more people to be just stopping by your .com and seeing what you have to offer. So you probably need to check and make sure your server can handle the increase in visitors. We've heard about businesses that like go on Shark Tank and the other pitch shows and their websites crash. Do you want that to happen to you on Big Money Weekend? Because crashed websites mean you're not getting any sales. So you want to prepare for that as much as you possibly can. Get with your hosting provider, the same company you bought your .com from, and ensure that your server can handle an increase in visitors. You might have to upgrade your server. I don't know, depending on how many people you want to be visiting your site. But you need to plan ahead for that. The 6 things that you need to be taking care of now. You need to be doing these things now in order to make sure that your website is ready to handle Black Friday shoppers.